Okay, YouTube intro. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on this channel. Today we are reacting to horror movie monsters I definitely cannot survive by Chupacabro. Also another great YouTuber. So let's just jump straight into them. Boom.
Look, I've seen
Into
every
it, I mean, why not them?
horror movie. I know the rules. Don't
Why is it so low resolution? I don't know premium. I mean, wrong. There, perfect.
look, I've seen every horror movie. I know the
Why is it
rules.
so low resolution? It says 1080p.
Don't split up. Don't investigate the noise. Don't trust the guy who's
Bro, don't splitting up is the splitting up is the number one mistake in every horror movie. Everyone splits up. All the time, dude. Like no one has ever seen a horror movie.
being too nice. I figured that out of all the movies I'm going to talk about today, I would at least have a shot of surviving. Then I actually sat down and looked at what these monsters can do. And I mean really looked, not like at the jump scares, but at their killing methods, the hunting patterns, the specific things they are
Bro, Pennywise, I feel like you could win against Pennywise actually if you just bully him like a crazy dog, like they do in the second movie. They just bully him all the time. I feel like that's possible.
designed to exploit. One of the movie's threats doesn't even need to touch you. It just makes someone who loves you do it instead. So I went through a bunch of different scary and dangerous horror movies from the recent years, and I found out exactly which
Backrooms, I would survive Backrooms easy. Let me tell you why I would survive the Backrooms. Let's just get
different scary and dangerous horror movies from the recent years. And I found out
I can tell you why I can survive the Backrooms. The Backrooms is easy. Okay, hear me out. You go into the Backrooms. You, like Clark, stumble upon it in the Backrooms. You see this. You see that this is, I think this is when he first comes in. See all this. Fuck that dude. Go out. Done. What? Done. Easy. Then you just report that to the government or something, and they buy your store for money, and then you get double money because it's this thing. And if you don't get money for it, you just tell it to the public, and then you get money, and the government is thrown down. You are the new king of the world, and then you start nuclear war and kill everyone. Then you fly to the moon, live on the moon with Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and every other really rich person. You live out your days there. You get kids with Elon Musk. Everything's great. That's what I would have done if I was in the Backrooms. Perfect.
exactly which of my many personal
I know I'm smart. Don't even try to say anything else.
flaws would get me killed if I were in these horror movies. Before we get into that, like and subscribe, but let's start. Let's start with Captain Clark.
Okay, if I put myself in the situation of that girl in the Backrooms, spoiler alert, by the way, spoiler alert of the movie, from now on, spoiler alert for all the movies that are in this. But if I was in the position of that girl that was getting chased by Captain Clark, I would have been dead. I feel like I would have been too scared, but I would have tried though. Maybe I would have survived. Maybe.
He's from the Backrooms. This is a 2026 A24 movie that takes place in an infinite dimension of identical yellow hallways. The whole space copies everything it touches: rooms, objects, and people. And the copy that matters here came from a guy named Clark, who owns a failing furniture store and carries about 30 years of barely contained rage. The Backrooms took all of that anger and made it into something. 8 feet tall, wearing Clark's pirate mascot costume from the store, with a peg leg, a face that's half tortured and half furious, and teeth that can bite
and looks like an Xbox controller. Don't forget about that dog. He looks like an Xbox controller. He actually
clean
does.
Through any human body in one go. They call him Captain Clark, and he just walks those endless hallways, hunting, because that's what the Backrooms built him to do. Now, here's where my horror knowledge was supposed to help. I know you're supposed to run, find an exit, stay calm, and think your way out, but the Backrooms doesn't really have exits. The hallways go on forever, and the architecture changes based on rules the dimensions makes up as it goes. The one character who survives only does it because she finds a single corridor too narrow for fatty Captain Clark's massive body to squeeze through. That's the survival strategy. Hope the monster is too fat for a doorway. Meanwhile, I have the spatial awareness of a golden retriever in a house full of screen doors. I get lost in parking garage.
True. Me too. Actually, me too.
I once walked the wrong direction out of a bathroom for 45 seconds before I realized I was heading deeper into a restaurant instead of back to my table. Put me in an infinite maze of piss-colored corridors with an 8-foot rage monster lumbering somewhere nearby, and I'm giving myself 3 minutes before I walk directly into his mouth because I thought I was going the other way. But you know, at least Captain Clark is like a physical problem that you could technically run from if you were stuck in the backrooms. Well, the Kaliak doesn't need to reach you because she just waits.
Know what this
She's
is.
from Hokum, this 2026 Irish folk horror film about an American writer who travels to a remote inn to scatter his parents' ashes. Aw, how cute. Except it's not cute because this guy shot his mom on accident. Anyways, the Kaliak is a witch who's been trapped in the inn.
What is that? That looks creepy, but also a bit cool. Now I'm gonna get nightmares.
It's honeymoon suite for what might be centuries. She's not dead, she's not gone, she's just waiting down there. And she doesn't hunt randomly. She waits for grieving people, the ones who have emotional reasons that they can't leave, who need to be somewhere even when every instinct tells them something is wrong. When she decides it's time, she puts you under some kind of spell that leaves you dazed and passive. Then she shackles you and she drags you through a doorway into the basement into what the movie calls the underworld, or what I like to call the first date with my bitch ex-wife Stacy. And down there in the dark, hands reach out and start taking pieces. Not killing you, just taking parts from you, everything you own. Just like my bitch ex-wife Stacy. You know, and I hear and
whoa, who is Stacy? What did Stacy do, man? What?
You're there, the kids there, the home there, the vacation home over there. Why does everyone keep asking me about my ex-wife? My therapist says that I hold on to things too long. Stacy was saying that I don't know when something is over. They were both talking about relationships, but it's also exactly why I would die at that inn. I would convince myself the weird noises were old pipes, that the creepy folklore was just locals being dramatic. I would stay because I came here to scatter my mom's ashes, and I'm not leaving until I finish what I came to do, goddammit. Even if the wallpaper starts bleeding and the dumbwaiter keeps opening up by itself.
I feel like I've seen this guy before. No, not these.
Stacy was right, honestly. I don't know when something
this guy, I feel like I've
is
seen
over,
him somewhere.
and the Kaliak is counting on exactly that kind of person. So those are the first two things I'd die from. Let's now.
He's probably going to talk about Obsession right now.
I'll move on. Let's talk about Faces of Death. Arthur Spivak, or the hot guy from Stranger Things,
but I've never seen the Faces of Death. What's that?
Works at a telecom store. He's the serial killer in Faces of Death, this 2026 horror film about a guy who recreates deaths from the infamous 1978 shockumentary Faces of Death. Wow, original naming choice there, guys. Except he does them to real people and uploads the videos to a platform that's basically TikTok, but more spooky. We got spooky TikTok now.
Spooktok. What's that aura?
Decapitations, electric chair executions, the monkey brain scene. He does it all, except performed on actual human beings. And the guy doing all of this looks like someone who'd patiently help you figure out your data plan. That's the first problem. Arthur doesn't have a vibe. Serial killers in movies usually telegraph something. They're too quiet, or their smile doesn't reach their eyes, or they say weird things that only make sense after the bodies start turning up. Arthur just goes to work and comes home. He's polite, he's forgettable, he blends.
Yeah, those killers are the best killers that you would never expect to be killers. Like my dog. Like you can never kill someone, but what if he can walk on two legs and take a gun and shoot? What? My dog. I don't think he will do that, but yeah.
Into the background of normal life so completely that nobody's looking twice. His method makes self-defense basically impossible because it happens before you know you're in danger. He targets people with some public visibility, like influencers, local news anchors, anyone whose death video might actually get views. He lures them somewhere, isolates them, and then he hits them with a magic liquid that I can't say on YouTube, but is very, very bad in the world today. People with some minor public visibility. I mean, isn't that just me? I have a YouTube channel. Random people watch me talk about shit. Oh God, he's gonna be at my door and he's Anyways, before I spiraled out of control, you're unconscious before your brain even registers something is wrong. Okay. By the time you wake up, if you wake up, you're in his garage surrounded by camera equipment, and you're about to become content. Look, I am gullible. I fall for normal seeming people constantly. That is basically my entire romantic dating history. Like, Stacy seemed completely normal for 3 whole years before.
Okay. Who is Stacy? Can we get Stacy out of here, dude? Who the fuck is Stacy?
Or, well, yeah, you know how that ended. The point is, I don't have a radar for this. Someone acts friendly and helpful and interested, and my brain just accepts it at face value because why wouldn't it? I'm Canadian. I'm like programmed to be nice to everybody and to help strangers in situations. I'm on a trip right now in a different country, and everyone is just like, dude, you don't need to apologize this much. And I just say, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. Arthur would literally have me zip tied to a chair before I even have time to finish my conversation with him. But here's what really got me as I was trying to put all of these movies together. Aaron from Creep 2 does the exact opposite of Arthur. And somehow it's worse. Because he doesn't hide what he is. He tells you directly. The movie opens with him slitting a guy's throat. How girly pop. Then he posts a Craigslist ad looking for a videographer to come document something. He's vague about the details. A woman named Sarah answers the ad, drives out to his remote cabin, and within the first hour of filming, Aaron looks at the camera and says, I'm quoting this directly, I am what is commonly known as a serial killer. I've killed 39 people. And she stays. Not because she didn't hear him, not because she thinks he's joking. She's not stupid, but Aaron is so charming about it, so weirdly vulnerable about his midlife crisis as a murderer that Sarah's brain starts doing backflips to...
So she stays with him, even when he says he's a murderer that has killed 39 people. A serial killer, actually, not just a normal killer. What are we doing? Survival instincts of a fart right here, dude. That's actually crazy.
Find any other explanation. Maybe he's having a breakdown, or testing her, or being theatrical, or making some kind of weird art project about violence. Anything except the obvious answer, which is that he just told you exactly what he is and you should leave immediately. But she doesn't because her social programming won't let her be rude to someone who's being so emotionally open with her. I don't think Sarah's a Canadian, but that's the same experience I have. What I'm trying to say is I would fall for both of these guys without question. Arthur, because I would never see him coming, because there's nothing to really see. Aaron, because I'd see him coming and then spend the next 3 hours convincing myself I must have misunderstood what I heard, and he's actually a nice guy who pays his taxes on time and donates to local orphanages. One of these killers hides perfectly. The other hides by telling the truth so clearly that you can't believe it. Either way, my ability to read people does exactly nothing to save my ass. But let's move on. Could I survive the long walk? Probably not. The long walk...
I haven't watched this movie, actually, but it seems
has rules. Cool. They are quite clear, and they are written down. They cannot be changed. 50 teenage boys start walking at 4 miles per hour. Drop below that pace, and you get a warning. 3 warnings, and soldiers on an armored truck put a bullet in your head. The last one still moving wins a prize and gets to go home. When I first heard about this movie, it's a 2025 movie based on an old Stephen King book, by the way, my brain went immediately into strategy mode. Okay, walking. I can walk. And 4 miles per hour is barely jogging. There's got to be an angle here, some way to game it, some loophole the system didn't think of. And then I actually ran the numbers on what happens to a human body that isn't allowed to stop walking. After 10 hours, everything hurts. At 24, you're hallucinating because your brain hasn't slept and your legs haven't stopped. At 48, your body starts digesting its own muscle tissue for fuel. Your feet blister straight through your shoes, and your ankles and knees swell until they can't bend right anymore. The boys in this movie walk hundreds of miles. Like, literally professional ultramarathon runners spend more years trained to cover that kind of ground. Like, it shouldn't be possible. But your body being stupid and deciding to break down isn't even what makes this thing unbeatable. The thing that makes it unbeatable is watching people die and not really being allowed to react. And also having to shit while walking. That was one of the first questions I had when I saw the trailer for this movie. And then I saw the movie, I was like, oh, that's how they do it. They don't. Anyways, the soldiers ride alongside the walkers in armored vehicles, just watching, waiting. When someone hits their third warning, an execution happens instantly with a rifle shot to the head. The body drops. Stupid. You make any move towards those trucks, they don't give you a quick death. They gut shot you and leave you bleeding on the road while everyone else has to walk past you, listening to you beg for help that they're not allowed to give. A bunch of characters in this movie don't even die because their bodies give out. They die because their minds go. They just stop walking, not because they physically can't continue, but because continuing felt worse than dying. Stacy always said I give up on things too easily. I think she meant making her happy and like kitchen renovations, but she wasn't wrong about the bigger pattern, let's just say. I wouldn't make it to sunset in the long walk, and it wouldn't be my legs that fail me first. It would be the part of me that looks ahead, sees what's coming, and decides that a bullet sounds easier than hour 47. At least the long walk has an endpoint though. Walk long enough, everyone else dies, and it's over. There's a finish line, even if getting there costs everything. Nikki in Obsession, she's not somebody that had a finish line because she just keeps coming. She's the monster in Obsession. It's not really her. She's kind of innocent, but traditional movie monster, it would be her. It's a movie that came out this year where a guy named Bear finds this magic wand called the One Wish Willow. He breaks it in half and wishes for his crush Nikki to love him, and the wish works. Technically, but it works a little too well. What actually happens is something looks like it takes over Nikki's body. It shoves her real mind down somewhere dark and replaces it with this obsessive thing that knows where Bear is at all times. It shows up at his house, his job, his car, watches him through windows, and follows him everywhere. And when anyone gets between Nikki and Bear, the violence goes somewhere I was genuinely not ready for in a movie I thought was a rom-com. In the actual movie, the real Nikki breaks through once, like just for a second at the end, and she looks at Bear with her actual eyes and begs him to kill her because it's the only way to stop it. And he can't. He physically cannot make himself do it because it's her face, her voice. Even knowing that what he's looking at isn't really her, his body won't cooperate. That's what love looks like when it's turned against you. Not strength, but hesitation. Exactly enough hesitation to die. And let's just say, if I had a crush on someone and I made the dumb mistake of making that wish, and then they asked me to kill them, I can't even kill a bug. I'm such like a big softie. Where I live, I have a fish tank, and every single time one of the fishies looks sad, I get sad. I don't know. Is that a crime? Is that a crime, Stacy, to care about a little goldfish?
Okay. Get out.
Let's now move on to Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Mummy. I'm dirty about that. I need to talk about a movie. I definitely couldn't survive. That's The Thing, aka my favorite horror movie of all time. It's so good. This may be my favorite movie actually. The Thing, the original, not the 2011 one, or not the original, the 1996 one, because there's one from 1997 or something. No, 1976 or something. I don't know, from the 70s, and that one isn't that good. But in the 90s, that one's absolutely perfect. So, wow, so good. Like, spoiler alert, skip to the next part if you don't want to listen to me talk about that movie. So basically, there is a virus, no, an alien that's come to Earth, and it can kill people and then like become them. The alien can like shape shift into what it's killed, but it can't replicate metal. And like, if you have any disabilities, I'm pretty sure it's disabilities too. It's at least like metal. Like if you have braces, like implants, I don't know, something like that, it won't replicate that. And then like, yeah. So like, I probably wouldn't have survived that, to be fair. But it's so good. Everyone should watch it. Go watch it after this, after my video or stream, of course.
A lot of people didn't like this movie. And to those people, I say, are you blind? I was literally reading reviews about this movie, and everyone was upset that it was gross. I mean, it's a horror movie. It being gross and stuff is kind of the point to make you uncomfortable. I think a lot of like people that watched the original Mummy, like The Mummy, and not the horrible remakes, were expecting something like that when this is like The Mummy meets Evil Dead. Anyways, the Nazmaranian from the movie doesn't attack families. It makes families attack themselves. This movie has nothing to do with Brendan Fraser, by the way, running from Scarab Beetles. This version is just straight up horror, and it works like this. A family's daughter, Katie, vanished 8 years ago. Now she's back, stumbling out of the wilderness, barely able to talk, and clearly traumatized by something she can't explain. What kind of parent doesn't take her home? What family doesn't wrap around her and try to make her feel safe while she heals? Well, the demon is counting on exactly that response, because Katie isn't Katie anymore. The thing inside her is the Nazmaranian, an ancient Egyptian demon that's been passed from host to host for centuries. A secret order has kept it maintained through
really
ritual
cool,
bindings,
though.
wrappings
Or, like,
covered in
not that it
scripture
does
that
that, but, like,
suppress its
it's
power
cool
as long as they
villain,
stay in place. But the
things.
wrappings hurt, Katie cries. She scratches at them, tears at her own skin trying to get them off, and begs her family for help. And her brother, Sebastian, loves his sister, so when she asks him to remove the bindings, he does. He peels away the scripture because he can't stand watching her suffer, and every piece he removes makes the thing inside her get stronger. That is how the demon feeds on you, not through violence, but from manipulating the people you love. The mother comforts Katie, and the demon gets closer. The father keeps her home instead of calling doctors, which means he's housing it in his family. And when Sebastian finally takes off the wrappings to ease his sister's pain, he's literally unwrapping the monster. Every natural protective instinct that this family has is a straight up F you this demon is saying. It will destroy them. And when the Nazmaranian finally gets strong enough, the destruction comes from inside. Like, if you look at the movie, literally one character gets her tongue cut open by her own mother while the demon puppets them. A man takes a massive metal hook through his skull and jaw. The grandmother dies pretty bad. By the end, the house looks like a crime scene, and the only solution anyone comes up with is transferring the demon into a new host, which means saving your family requires dooming someone else's. In the movie, they do use someone who definitely had it coming. If you're like me, I don't know anybody I'm gonna give a demon to. Like, that feels like a horrible burden. I have trouble asking people for help or like bringing up like uncomfortable situations, like the time someone brought their baby to the movie theater. I'm not going to give someone a demon. And I know how I'd react if someone I loved came back after being gone for years. I would bring them home. I would hold them. I would ignore every strange thing they did because that's what you're supposed to do when someone you care about is suffering. You don't ask questions. You just help. If my hypothetical kid started tearing at bandages and crying, I would take those bandages off. That is not a choice. That's just what love makes you do. And the Nazmaranian would watch me do it, getting stronger with every act of care until it was strong enough to make me kill the rest of my family with my own hands. The movie offers no solution that doesn't cost someone everything. You either let the demon consume your people or you sacrifice someone else to take it off your hands. There is no secret third option where the power of love and friendship wins. It's just different ways to lose. So where does that leave me? Well, F-U-C-K-E-D is what I would say up until I watched Iron Lung.
I want to watch this movie.
I would also be screwed because the Blood Ocean doesn't have some door you can escape from, like the house from the last movie. This is Iron Lung, a 2026 movie made by Markiplier, where every star in the universe has gone dark. All of the habitable planets just vanished one day. The survivors are drifting on space stations with dwindling resources, and the only hope anyone has found is this one anomaly, a moon with an ocean on it. Except the ocean isn't water, it's blood, human blood, for funsies and reasons the movie never fully explains, which is good, by the way. If you are a director, do not explain why your ocean is filled with blood. I don't want to know. Anyways, it is literally just miles and miles of a blood ocean, and something lives down there. And then they decide to send me, if I'm in the movie, a convict with nothing to lose, into this ocean inside a submarine called the Iron Lung. It is barely a submarine. It's more like a coffin they welded some controls into. There's no windows, well, no good windows, no reliable map, and just a tiny porthole that has to stay sealed because the pressure at those depths would crush you instantly if it cracked. My job would be to pilot blind through underwater caves made of blood, using a grainy external camera with X-ray sensors that half work. I'd be photographing locations the surface team marks on my incomplete map. I would do this alone, in the dark, and in a space so small that I could barely stand up, while the walls of my vessel slowly get covered in growths, the things the blood itself is producing. The blood is alive, basically, or at least it acts alive. It grows these vine thingy-thingies that creep over the hull and eventually start pushing into the submarine's interior. At one point, the main character, Markiplier, reaches through an opening and the blood fuses with his hand. And he has to tear off his own arm at the shoulder just to get free. The whole time, something spooky has been watching. The blood eel shows up in the photographs, and before you ever see it directly, you would be clicking through your camera footage, and there it is in the background of shots you already took. It's this massive snake-like thing with needle teeth and a forehead that looks almost human. And it's been following me, I guess, since I entered the water. It's been patient because it doesn't need to rush. What the fuck am I gonna do about that? By the time the creature finally makes its move, I would already be falling apart, low on oxygen, bleeding from an arm that I would have to remove, trapped in a tiny metal box at the bottom of an ocean that is literally digesting your vehicle from the outside. The thing doesn't need to be fast. It just needs to wait until I'm weak enough, and then it comes through the porthole, and that's it. The only person who survives this scenario does it by blowing up the submarine with themselves inside, which is what Markiplier did. And that is not survival. That is just mutually assured destruction. Yeah, that's a bunch of new horror movies that just came out that I frankly would not survive because I am a pathetic excuse to society, according to Becky. If you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to give it a like and comment down below what other horror movies you'd like to see me talk about.
This one was good too. Check out Chupacabra. Chupacabro. Like that video. It was good. Check him out. Make sure to check him out. That was the end of this YouTube video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this react. And I'll see you guys in the video or stream another time. Goodbye.